Sorry about the delay there. Greetings, my fellow film lovers and saga thinkers. This is LL3's News Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful smoky mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Saturday, October 7th, 2017. I'm at CJ's Java Lounge, located at 400 Southwest 1st Avenue, Suite 1 along the New River, Fort Lauderdale, in the Yacht Club, which is the southwest section of the Andrews Avenue Beach. Ooh, I can say this: more people are not buying the official story. It looks like, too, Sheriff James Lombardo is flip-flopping as well, making the claim that Mr. Paddock had a double life. Incredible, huh? Well, I gotta say one thing, my friends. That statement I made is considered Operation Gladio. So far, I'm spot on, which I'm not trying to wear a badge of honor either. However, it's really good thing about it, people are not really grasping it as much. Like he did since September 11th, minimum. And of course, you got the tyrants who want to manifest to try to take away your natural born rights, want to pack you down like more of those slave boys and girls, making any excuses to have you live as a freedom-loving individual, including your children, grandchildren, etc. That's the one thing you have to always be aware. Kio bono, who benefits. And of course you hear about, all the stuff they want to get rid of, which is all hogwash. And plus, many people out there, including John Rappaport, a few others, saying that Paddock was a patsy. There is one story stating that he was shot dead before the shootings ever occurred. It's from BP Earthwatch, from the information he received. And even in the past, we're going to use Antifa. He had Antifa literature. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for it, because look, we all have our disagreements with certain organizations, but I'm seeing what they're trying to do, lay them as scapegoats also. Do the blame game so they can fight and kill each other in the streets and we'd be wooed later on. Yes, that does happen. I remember the article I have one article talking about the globalists were tending to throw anti-funds to wolves. There's an article on that. That's the name of the game, my friends. They want us at each other's throats, pointing the fingers. But now, like I see about these movements, they're just pawns of the game. They're being used, swindled, in other words, screwed over. And the worst thing about it, I'm not surprised, is how it is. Whether it's the left or the right, it doesn't matter. So like an individual like myself, like to be organic, keep it real. I network with certain groups. Doesn't mean I'm on the side with them or agree with them on every little thing. This is just name of insanity. Like I prefer. Follow the hype of the hoopla and let us do it for you. It'll be something. I'm even laughing about this so-called movement to terminate the Electoral College. It needs to be scrapped. It needs to be terminated. It needs to be destroyed. Yes, they want centralization. Instead of the United States of America, they want to call it the centralized states. The world should revolve around Washington, D.C. It should be the popular vote for the president. Please. I guess a lot of you folks haven't read Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution and don't really know what the Electoral College really is. You want a king or queen? Go place in Europe, Spain, England, Saudi Arabia. Just give a few. How long are you gonna let this go on? Because people need to start doing their own homework in this subject as well. Many of them don't have a clue. Why is that? I don't know. However, many others are seeing the bigger picture, which is good. There's this big battle, spiritual warfare going on. I know I've addressed this before. And the conscience of awareness, it is being enhanced. And I observed that as well. Of course, you're going to get the dumb downers and the doubtful Thomases and the stagnants. I'm not saying they're better, we're better than them. No. But the truth of the matter is, you got a great amount of folks that want to rule us. They believe in that so-called might is right. They assume they're the mighty. They do meet platforms. So, what is your destiny? How do you want to see your country, the world, your community do? How are you going to be involved? Take actions productively, or sit there and do nothing. Watch your La TV and your Church of Hollywood films. Have to make that clear. And it looks like Hurricane Nate may strengthen to be a Category 2 by landfall. It may hit along the Louisiana, Mississippi area. Possibly send me right in that area. So you folks out there be safe. But sometimes the news itself like to be more exaggerate. But folks gotta be vigilant regardless. So make sure our brothers and sisters in the bayous, Alabama, Mississippi, state line in Florida with Alabama, be safe out there. That night say winds that are moving north-northwest at 26 miles an hour. Ooh, this can be a quick one. So speeding up. Alright, well, enough of my rant. Hopefully you guys have put up with me for almost the past, almost 4 years. It'll be December 8th. 4 years. Alright. Well, I got some interesting stuff here I checked out today and yesterday. When I get a great laugh. Remember that little incident that happened in Garland, Texas? The Mohammed cartoon event? The ISIS terrorist attack? Well, it's been revealed on the 21st Century Wire that the FBI aided abetted ISIS terror attack at Mohammed cartoon event in Garland, Texas. Remember who was the director of the FBI? The one and only James Comey. Had that fetish and trying to climax on the Russian collusion with Trump. Because he has so much crap coming out of his rear end, he had to try to point the other place. Oh, over there. So his actions, possibly, I would say, and I won't be surprised. He had a lot to hide, but he used the collision as a distraction. Everyone's like, oh, hyped up. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. They're like rubbing their nipples and say, I can't wait, we can't wait. We're going to talk about Trump. And turn the crap, right? All right, so I'm going to read this. And this is Daily Shooter and all that from the 21st Century Wire. Just as ISIS is being routed in Deir ez-Zor, Syria, and soon out of Raqqa, and driven from its remaining strongholds in Iraq, we discover how the U.S. government has been busy keeping the organization thriving within its own shores. What are you about to read is simply breathtaking, but should be of no surprise to our readers. These new court findings reaffirm of what 21 Wire and the Daily Shooter column have been reporting for the last 5 years. That the FBI is responsible for the majority of so-called U.S. attacks, terrorist attacks in the U.S. According to a new legal case filed against the FBI, court filings have revealed how the agency allowed an alleged homegrown ISIS attack to take place in Garland, Texas on May 4, 2015. International criminal lawyer Jennifer Breeden shows the FBI was complicit in the attack and even enticed the two terrorists to carry out the attack, and where agents had pretended to be ISIS in order to keep their entrapment operation going. She explains. Some of the facts are indicating that they had an undercover agent that was trying to get in with ISIS, trying to find out these ISIS groups, and he wanted to make himself higher and up in ISIS ranks to know of more of their fighters. Apparently, he stayed in the car behind him, which came out in another case filing with the FBI. They did not prevent it because if the attack had been carried out successfully and people died. It was likely this undercover agent, the supervisors in the FBI felt that this would promote him up to higher ranks within ISIS. Undercover agent would be promoted up because the attack was then successful. And there is of course, an interview on RT, which came out the 5th. Interesting. You're supposed to read that yourselves. I'm going to head back. Like I said, I'm not surprised. And it's funny to see here on the surface, there's a clear case of entrapment by the FBI. Upon deeper examination, it's now clear that the FBI seems to have aided and abetted a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. While other mainstream and alternative media outlets were busy promulgating the official narrative, 21 Wire actually called out the staged event designed to leverage a far-right anti-Muslim agenda and stoke irrational fear of endless ISIS attacks on U.S. soil. And of course, you got the professional provocateur Geller provided the PR bait for the media, the FBI-run American ISIS cell. Yeah, she's that woman that believes that we should all be slaves because of 9/11. You can look at some of her videos about that. Want you to be Pavlov's dog training. Oh, it's the right thing to do to protect ourselves. She needs to get a good punch in the nose so it can be enlarged. I say that symbolically. The contrived event was marketed as a controversial Mohammed art exhibit and cartoon contest, organized by a cutout political front group, American Freedom Defense Initiative, led by anti-Muslim activist and professional provocateur Pamela Geller. Yes. If you don't know who that woman is, trust me. When I first seen her spoke on C-SPAN, I just wanted to go to the bathroom, take a dump. If it was a little bit more potent, I'll probably deal with that more than her rhetoric. Okay. So, and featured high right Dutch politician Geert Wilders as keynote speaker. Media personality Geller claimed to have purposely chosen the venue following the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, gathering, who had held with the Stand with the Prophet conference in late January 2015 after Charles Hebdo shootings in Paris earlier that year. I still think the French government was behind it. According to the victim's attorney, Breeden, the FBI had an undercover agent that was trying to get in with ISIS, trying to find out these ISIS groups, and he wanted to make himself higher up in ISIS ranks to know more of their fighters. American journalist Trevor Trevor Aronson further explained the derelict role of James Comey image left in an attempt to cover its own fingerprints on his dodgy operation. Hours earlier, the FBI sent a bulletin to local police with Elton Simpson's photo, warning that he was interested in the event. FBI Director James Comey said in the press conference following the shooting that the FBI did not have reason to believe Simpson was planning to attack the event, even though the Bureau has spent years trying to build a case against him. After the FBI staged attack, 21 Wire was one of the few media outlets to report how a paid FBI informant was not only handling but directing what appeared to be naive and vulnerable federal target for entrapment, a new young Muslim covert named Elton Simpson from Phoenix, Arizona. It has now been revealed that gunman Elton Simpson was already under surveillance by the FBI and was even the subject of a terror investigation. More importantly, we can also affirm Simpson was being handled by an FBI informant. Court appears filed in Arizona named the FBI undercover informant as Mr. Dabadeng, a Kenyan, and who from 2007 was paid $132,000 by the FBI to become friends with Mr. Simpson, and who also appears to have groomed Simpson through a local mosque and helped to develop Simpson's ideas about jihad. Wow, so if I was corrupt, I could get this money. I could get paid well for taking shortcuts. So keen was CNN at the time to convince its audience that Garland was a real terrorist event. It took the trouble of creating its own cartoon version of the attack in a desperate attempt to make the official story believable. Of course, there's a synthetic terror, of course, video on there. At the time, and almost comically, CNN tried to push the official narrative, appearing totally clueless out of the fact that the attackers were under FBI supervision for years. Sounds like the ones that happened in Manchester, right? With the MI5 or MI6. He wasn't well known to federal law enforcement and was not on the FBI's radar, one of the officials said. Investigators were combined with Comey through evidence retrieved from the shooters' Arizona home to help piece together a timeline of how their plot came together, the official said. It was as if CNN had copied and pasted their report from the FBI press memo issued after the event. Perhaps it was. CNN's coverage of the event was equally ridiculous, not picking on the fact that a small platoon of heavily armed U.S. Special Ops mercenaries were pre-positioned at Gallard's event in anticipation of the made-for-TV terror attack that followed. Garland was a clear case of the U.S. government creating a real terror threat where there was none, and this wouldn't be the first time either. As previously noted, the Guardian reported on the scale and scope of this trend in 2014. In some cases, the FBI may have created terrorists out of law-abiding individuals by suggesting the idea of taking terrorist action or encouraging the target to act. The list of FBI-related terrorist incidents inside the U.S. is a long one. The formula for creating a terror icon required a confidential informant to guide and manage a future suspect right up to the point of arrest, or in some cases, like the World Trade Center. In 1993, the FBI have even allowed a terrorist incident to take place. That is a lot of reports on it. I believe not even the time InfoWars, Dow Jones addressed it as well, and it had merit. Just give you some examples. In Garland, as so many other high-profile terror and mass shooting events, 21 Wire's investigation have turned out correct, while the mainstream media have been completely wrong. The following infographic is from the program on extremism. They are likely contrived, if not inflated numbers, meant to represent suspected ISIS members, supposedly hiding out all over America. You see numbers by state. You see 8 in Florida, 18 in New York. So I like this here. You know, it's interesting. GW Extremism Tracker ISIS in America. Alright, so the following is a high-partial list of informants, patsies, and dupes used by security services and a number of high-profile terror events in recent years. There's a big list here. You can look it up yourself. That includes, of course, Chairman Zarnev and Bruford Rogers, Timothy McVeigh, of course, Elton Simpson, Tashfeen Malik, Omar Mateen, and Angus Ambry, Esteban Santiago Ruiz. So let's just give you some examples in here as well. And you can look at the whole thing on Garland News, but it is totally interesting and really, I say hilarious because, and don't get me wrong, like when it comes to like terrorist attacks and all that, you got folks out there, they're real serious, but I've been saying this for a long time. ISIS is New World Order fighting. And I do laugh about Garland, not Garland, but what's the woman's name? I always forget her name. I told you Geller, yeah, Pamela Geller, and of course James Comey are involved. I think it's great. Yep, James Comey, the reason why he's going up to Trump on the Russian collusion because of this. Now it's going to blow back in his face. I think he should be arrested for treason, espionage. They Comey did great. It was great because you want to go after Trump. And like I said, you know me. People know me in my show. I'm real critical of Trump in a lot of areas as well. Just let you know, even for people who know me never just heard my show the first time. So you gotta give 21st century credit, 21st century wire credit, because they're a good site, and I hear their shows once in a while. It's Breaker. It's called the Sunday Wire. And the truth of the matter is, the whole thing is you gotta get people learn to get people to think. So hey, as I'm very pleased with this. I read this yesterday. I just bust out laughing. I think it's great. Pamela Geller. Hey, whatever you do, I'm gonna tell everyone out there, whatever you do, never ever send me anything from Pamela Geller. All right. I am not impressed with this woman. I'll say that in good faith. I don't need some posette trying to tell me how to live. I'll make that clear. Not more than New World Order garbage. So I'll never impressed with these organizations. Even hers. Sounds like awful, stupid, lousy. But that's why this is called entrapment. And Comey should be investigated on this event. And how many more times he aided and abetted suspects within this organization, the New World Order organization. Right? Hopefully, folks, spread this around because it has to be addressed. All right, enough of that. Next one here came from Activist Post. Rachel Belvins wrote this, and from Free Thought Project. Yeah, Free Thought Project. And it says here, 9/11 gave us a police state with the Patriot Act. After Vegas, get ready for the U.S. Liberty Act. I love these beautiful titles. And it says here, after 9/11, the U.S. government preyed on fear felt by many Americans to justify the passage of the USA Patriot Act, a law that was supposed to prevent future terrorist attacks. Now, after the Las Vegas shooting, the government has another proposed law ready to go, and is just what the Patriot Act also infringes on American liberties and does very little for their security. The USA Liberty Act is the latest trendy name for a law that would reauthorized Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, which is set to expire on December 31st, 2017. For the House Judiciary Committee, the act would preserve the core purpose of 702, the collection of electronic information by non-U.S. persons for use in our nation's defense. Yeah, right. Get it? Only them. Only them. Bum, 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 bum. But the cancer will spread wider. Right? However, it should be noted that while the purpose of FISA was reportedly allowed surveillance of communication of foreign targets who were suspected terrorists, it has been used to spy on communications of innocent Americans. Of course, it's so obvious. It's the guy. Don't do that. The government was here to protect us. Despite the practice being ruled illegal, and any reauthorization of the law will only practice to continue under the guise of preventing terrorism. So the USA Liberty Act claims that it will protect Americans' privacy by requiring the government to have a legitimate national security purpose before searching an individual's database. Then they do have the purpose established. Then they will be required to obtain a court order based on probable cause to look at the content of communications, except when lives or safety are threatened or a previous probable cause based over court order or warrant has been granted. I can dream about it. I will trust the government. I can dream about it. This institution will make me feel safe. Okay, sorry, I like using sarcasm once in a while. But what the USA Liberty Act does not advertise is that the fact that it does not actually address the legitimate problems that exist with Section 702. The FBI's legitimate national security purpose could be justified by just about any reason the agency chooses to give, and agents will only need supervisory authority in order to search America's metadata. One of the most important things to remember about Section 702 is that the Constitution Project noted it gives domestic law enforcement agencies access to data seized by the NSA while allowing the NSA to retain and decimate Americans' communications that may contain any evidence of any crime. In a press release on the new act, the House Judiciary Committee bragged about the bipartisan success of the USA Freedom Act in June 15, claiming that it ended the bulk collection of data, protected civil liberties and national security, and provided robust oversight and transparency of our vital national security tools. Next. However, as the Free Thought Project reported in May 2015, the USA Freedom Act doesn't actually end or suspend the phone call record programs, but simply requires phone companies to hold onto these records rather than the NSA. Oh, how nice. It's also authorized for the first time the NSA, FBI, and other government agencies to unconstitutionally collect data in bulk on potentially millions of law-abiding Americans and let it the NSA collect cell phone records in addition to the landline call records, the same way that the USA Patriot was opposed of Patriot in 2001. The USA Freedom Act only took away freedom in 2015. Don't be fooled by the title. The USA Liberty Act in 2017 has nothing to do with expanding liberty. Of course, my friend, Ms. Blevins, you know what? I have to agree with you completely. It's just total nonsense, half-assed. In other words, treasonous. You know? So it's good. You can download this bill as well. And I know for a fact, the title sounds pretty, but the fine print blows. Hey, when you gotta always remember the past, my friends, is today's greatest teacher. So it's okay for certain things they can do in the USA Liberty Act. However, if you say it's not unconstitutional or illegal, they'll call you a terrorist, right? Absolutely, that's their motive. Manipulate, sell you garbage. If you criticize it, you're the bad guy. You're the enemy of America. Not in the corporate America, that is, you know. So the House Judiciary Committee has this on here. Let's take a little read, shall we? The Liberty Act, background 702 of the Foreign Surveillance Act, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of FISA, which is set to expire on December 31st, authorized surveillance of the communication of non-U.S. persons outside of the United States in order to protect national security. It reportedly contributes to a quarter of all national security agencies' surveillance and has been used on multiple occasions to detect and prevent horrific terrorist plots against our country. Although Congress designed its authority to target on non-U.S. persons located outside the United States, it is clear that Section 702 surveillance program can and do incidentally collect information about U.S. persons when U.S. persons communicate with foreign targets of its Section 702 of surveillance. Thus, the program must be reauthorized with reforms to better safeguard American civil liberties and strengthen national security. Oh, really? In the summary of it, the USA Liberty Act preserves the core purpose of Section 702, the collection of electronic communications by non-U.S. persons for use in our national defense. The bill also creates a new framework for protection and transparency requirements to ensure that the government's use of Section 702 accords to principles of privacy and due process. Here are some of the bill's key components to tell you all here about it. On security investigations, criminal investigations, and prevents American government abuse of masking U.S. persons. Yeah, don't buy that, my friends. Strengthening protection of civil liberties. Yeah, I could just you know, I could do a gas attack right now from my rear end. That is fluctuants. Alright, so increases oversight transparency, protects national security. Oh man. Here's it says here about protecting national security. The bill reauthorized fees in Section 702 for another 6 years through September 30th, 2020. So just to give you guys a heads up. The bill also states that the United States should share information collected via 702 with allies in order to combat terrorism. Yep. Protects national security, yeah. Okay, so if you want to trust the government, clap your hands, right? Well, I hear silence, so there's another debacle, my friend. The monumental deception continues. When I say late Arizona made it clear, the Bill of Rights culture's only solution, only answer, by fighting terrorism. Alright, well, the next one here came from antiwar.com. Jason Ditch came out yesterday too. It says Catalonia to defy Spain, declare independence next week. Spanish court orders won't stop declaration. Jason Ditch, October 6, 2017. Spain's Constitutional Court does not appear to be having much luck stopping an imminent Catalan Declaration of Independence after ruling on Thursday that the regional parliament won't be allowed to meet on Monday to declare independence. Catalonia looks to be doing an end around. They're going to make the announcement Tuesday. Spain has been struggling to find roadblocks to put in the way of the independence declaration by Catalan President Charles Figmont, but suspending Monday session that was never officially announced appears to have been useless. Catalan officials said Figmont will be addressing Parliament Tuesday at 6 p.m. and MPs are expecting he'll be submitting the declaration to the Assembly at the time. Catalan's MPs say the text to the declaration is still being debated, but that at this point there is no reason to expect any further delay. Spanish courts are unlikely to have time to try to block another session of Parliament before it takes place. Catalan voters overwhelmingly approved secession over the weekend, and the violent crackdown by Spanish police has only added to calls to quickly split from Spain. Spanish officials insisted the referendum didn't count because the courts forbade it. Catalonian leaders, however, maintain that the vote was valid and it will stand. So we got to see how long this thing is going to be a little cloak and dagger adventure on this Catalonia's secession from Spain. And you know me, I made my statement on here. Some people would say maybe unconstitutional, but you know what? I say take a dump on Francisco Franco's legacy. It should be abolished from that region. Let them do their thing. And there's even reports as well when like the Spanish government's trying to get these companies out of Barcelona, out in that region. I recommend these shops. Say, hey, give the Spanish government a middle finger, as far as I'm concerned. You should just like actually talk to the leaders of Catalonia to see what's their best interest, because this is why they've been like deprived for almost 80 years, okay, of the tyrannical rule from the Spanish government. And hey, you know what? I don't blame them one bit. And I did make my statements on there about they should prep up, have militias and so forth, and be ready to go. And don't even get involved with the European Union. I would even laugh at the United Nations as well, to the brothers and sisters in Catalonia. Be organic, keep it authentic. Or other things, keep it real. And even the new form of government, stay vigilant and exercise demoniac resistance when it's necessary. That's what government does, my friend. You may be separate, but it's a new chapter, and people in that beautiful region need to stay vigilant. Hail victory to Catalonia. Alright, enough of that there. So finally, I'm going to do one more thing, and this is pretty cool. It's the greatest transformation, a world awakening. This is by Sarah Defy. It says here, we are currently living in the most profoundly transformative time in the history of the planet. Never mind the Industrial Revolution or even the advent of our current techno wonder world. It is time of awakening consciousness on a planetary level, and not one single being or location on Earth will remain untouched. Of course, you may not be remotely aware of this, as we each experience life depending upon where we put our attention. And right now, there's a reality of show international proportions, grabbing the spotlight from nightly news to social media. However, those of us looking into another direction and perceiving an expansion in consciousness of a cosmic magnitude. In 2008, after a 13-year unexpected sojourn living on the street and being carried around the world with no visible means of support, returned to Bozeman and wrote a little book called Evolution Revolution, a handbook for personal and global transformation. It was work based on excuse me, I gotta do a shot here of water, so bear with me. Get this dry throat. It was work based on my own awakening and recognition that whatsoever we do it for another, we're going to for our own selves, good or ill. It's both a way of cultivating self-awareness and expanding consciousness, and was published in the midst of the Great Recession. The crisis that demanded a rethink of priorities and a recreate of systems. Unfortunately, rather than accept the uncomfortable truth and the accompanying challenge, the powers that be scrambled to recreate the status quo with all haste. 9 years later, we are experiencing consequences of those decisions with a vengeance. A nationwide dissatisfaction of such profound depth, it has led to an unprecedented rejection of establishment thinking and the elevation of an anti-hero in a position of power. Meanwhile, the energetics of transformation, not to be trifled with by or out of control egos of any stature, are barreling on and showing globally, from an astonishing upstart in the Vatican speaking a Christ-like rhetoric, care for the poor, to alternative energy becoming a new norm, and governments around the world granting rights to animals and water and earth itself. And all this we are witnessing what I call the Great Transformation, a period of societal upheaval and political antics, indicating the death Thoris, and approaching this illusion of the old paradigm on the one hand, and the great acceptance of interdependence arising in the multitudes, leading us towards a new way of being, harmony with all life on the other. Where does that leave us as individuals, the little people? We may feel powerless to have an impact in the face of such great turbulence. Where does the average Joe, a decent, hard-working, let live kind of guy who abhors how things are but doesn't have a clue what to do about it, find the power to make difference if he is not a protester, activist, billionaire, celebrity, or CEO? If you're not simply reactive organisms responding to stimuli like Pablo's dog, we have the profoundly influential power and empowerment of attentional conscious choice. We can choose where to put our attention. We can choose what to feed with our energy. We can choose what to support with our money. We can choose how to respond to what we perceive. We can choose the words and tone of voice in our speaking. We can choose the attitude and intention we bring into our world, and more specifically, our community. It is quite simple. It's actually quite simple. The key to the power of the individual to those in mass make up the overwhelming majority is in relationship, because the basis of a harmonious life in any society depends upon our interrelatedness and how we choose to treat each other on a daily basis. We didn't wait for a natural disaster to evoke a sense of all this together, because we really are all in this light together. We didn't need wait for a catastrophe to inspire kindness, cooperation, consideration, generosity, or compassion. We can choose to embody those qualities and express them in every encounter, every day. And race, religion, nationality, gender, or even political affiliation need never come into play. Start where you are. The simplest way to say it is be friendly. We can choose to be friendly and pleasant when we engage in transactions with the cashier or waitress who serves us. We can choose to be considerate of others when we're driving in the street. We can choose to be kind, supportive, or complimentary in every human transaction. In the world that has speeded up exponentially, just being willing to spend the moment it takes to be still, listen to what others want to express is a kindness. All around us are folks working at jobs we've done or jobs we would never want to do. These people are not nameless ciphers. They are our neighbors, someone's mother, father, sister, child, or loved one, and they are serving us in the position they occupy. What if we expressed appreciation for the service and made their encounter with us a moment of warmth and connection? What if our dealt intention as we go about our daily life was making people feel good about themselves? What if our speaking elicited the response, "You made my day"? The change we want to see in our world is not something that can be legislated or imposed from without. It is not something we can achieve through protest. It is something that can only come from each one of us choosing to bring a little more kindness in our way of being as we go about the business of living our lives. Quantum physics tells us how the observer affects that which it observes. This is the way as individuals we affect our collective reality. What if we started to observe through the eyes of love? In the same way, what the reward of patience is patience. Reward of kindness is finding oneself living in the kind world. Verily, whatsoever we embody and express create the world in which we live. It is a question of critical mass. Small numbers have number to affect collective consciousness and do as when TM mediators demonstrably reduce crime in cities by their focus. When we recognize we are part of a whole and continuously contributing the quality of our energy to that whole, we can begin to choose, embody, and express more kindness. raising the vibratory rate of the collective and contributing to a transformed society. Change yourself and change the world. Very intriguing, I would say, to be exact. There's always things we can always look at too, because a lot of stuff is occurring. Spiritual awakening and all that good stuff. So, but it is a fact. Like we talk about some of the ordeals that's going on around the world, even Vegas and all that, just to give you an example. Folks are learning, or seeing the bigger picture. That's part of the spiritual awakening. Always got to look at things a lot broader. And actually, it was originally published on Divine Cosmos. Let's let you folks know. We can all make a difference, one way or the other. And we have our faults, including myself. I'm not going to lie about it, make our errors. I may bust some chops once in a while. But to be very sincere, never out of ridicule, like out of malice. Always done in good faith. See that person that they get not to think, but they think before they speak, and think before their actions. One thing I realized, the control freaks are wigging out, and we can't conquer. We do have the opportunity to inhabit true peace, security, and spiritual prosperity. We have the opportunity to make it happen. So, that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send me something that's interesting you may want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondence to the support. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Streams Network, scene.lifeminds.com, picturenet.club, patreon.com/LuckyLuck3. If you want to be a patron, 3 eyes. You can hit me at Gab, which is gab.ai. In addition, you can email me at LuckyLuck3@gmail.com, or if you're crypto fans, LuckyLuck03@protonmail.com. Alright, my friends, that's all for now. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that mighty act exists, help the soul, get a little humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.